What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again this week. Super excited to help another amazing student in our coaching program in the Flip Lifestyle community take her online dream to the next level. And I love it when I get to hang out online on a podcast with people that I've hung out with offline in the real world. Our guest today is Laura Delpini. Hey, Laura, how you doing?
Hey Shane, how are you?
Laura's dancing. You know, this is going to be a good show when the guest is actually dancing as we go. And we were dancing at the Income Surge event a few weeks ago. But good to see you again. I'm pumped. I've been pumped all day. You've been on the schedule. Like, Laura's on the schedule. I know it's going to be a good one.
I'm so excited. I'm very grateful. So thank you, my brother, for inviting me. This is a huge blessing and incredible opportunity.
I got to call you out a little bit, okay? Is it okay if I call you out first?
Please do.
So one of my favorite things is when we meet people and they have this great idea and they've got all these energy and they got this excitement. And then they say this to me, oh, by the way, I've also got 55,000 people following me on Instagram. And I'm like, you have what? And I'm like, are you doing anything with that? And you're like, not really. It's like, when you look at that number, was it just like, normal to you that you had all those followers and did you just not know what to do with it? Or like, did it just feel like, well, that's not a lot of followers? Because that's a lot of people, right? That's a football stadium of humans that said, I'm interested in you, Did you just not know what to do with it or what?
Well, you're not wrong. It is a lot of people. When I first, when you see the numbers online and you think, oh, people have 1 million followers, but really when you think about, oh, if I was in an arena and it held 35,000 people, I could sell this out if everybody bought a ticket. So really when you kind of reframe your thought process, it is a lot, but 55 is not a lot to me because I used to have 80. So I've kind of come down a little bit because I have really kind of like stepped back from the limelight in the past 4 years as I was, healing and going through my cocoon, my butterfly phase.
Sure. So you kind of had this big following. It was building, but then you kind of paused, right? And stopped for a minute. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let me go back a little bit. Like, tell me a little bit about like your background and your story. Maybe start like a little bit before the Instagram thing. Like, what is your background? And then how did that lead to an idea to make money online?
Well, that's a great question. My background, I grew up very overweight. I grew up in the era of hot dogs, macaroni, and cheese.
I, my friend.
I'm from Kansas, and like we would sit on the front porch. My mom would give us, grapes and put sugar on top. So,
as you do, right?
So I grew up, I'm a product of my environment, 100%. And nobody, I saw a picture of myself at 25, and it was the first time I had ever seen a picture where I thought it was my grandma, and I didn't realize it was me. I did not recognize myself. The crazy thing is that I just didn't have that awareness because this was back in 2012 before social media. And so social media has really brought an awareness to what you look like and compare you to other people, good or bad, So I think there's good components of social media, whereas you can say, oh, I didn't realize these things are happening in this part of the world. Well, growing up in Kansas and my mom, literally across the street from her house was a wheat field. There was nothing to compare it to. So I didn't see myself. I didn't know myself. And nobody was telling me, hey, you're overweight or you're obese or, what do you think about losing weight or, what's your goals, aspirations, you're unhealthy. Those conversations were not being held at all. So when I did see that picture, I took it upon myself. I went to the gym. I started doing Zumba. And
what year was that? What year was that when you were 25? Do you remember?
That was 2012. That was 2012.
Okay. Well, it was 2012. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I saw that picture. That was Christmas of 2011, and then I saw it we were driving home from St. Louis. I was actually born in St. Louis, and then we moved to Kansas. So as we were driving home, I was looking through my dad's pictures, and I saw the background. And I was like, "What is Grandma doing on the couch?" Because she had died a couple years earlier, and it was like a weird thing to me. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's me!" And I could not believe that was me. And then it kind of made me feel angry and upset because I realized that I was a product of my environment. And it's almost like, think of the Queen of England. If she had ketchup on her lip, and she just walked around for 25 years with ketchup on her lip, nobody cares about her enough to say, hey, Queen of England, wipe the ketchup off your face. And that's
Yeah.
how I felt. It's like, how could you guys let me get, this massive and this unhealthy and this big? So, of course, I took the responsibility to myself and signed up for the gym, started doing Zumba. My knees were bad because I was severely overweight. And so I went to the doctor. He said, you need to start lifting weights to kind of strengthen your muscles around your knees. So started
Mm.
doing boot camp, and that was 2012. And then by the end of 2012, I had lost 50 pounds just
Wow.
from working out. And then that's when Instagram.
Did you change your eating at that time?
I changed a little bit, but for the most part, like I was just so big, Shane, that when you just start moving and start doing anything,
Yeah.
the weight just kind of comes off. And it wasn't really until the next year where I was like, okay, I really need to change. I mean, generally what the bad stuff is: no cookies, no chocolate, no cake, no candy, no chips, no soda. But really to dig in to find out, if I was allergic to gluten, I didn't know that. I was on the genesis of it. I was at the
Yeah.
very small level. I still thought drinking Slim Fast were healthy.
Right, right,
So
right.
I was just getting into it. And it wasn't until the next year I was able to lose another 25 pounds. And so that year, 2013, I was down 75 pounds and I had gained. I mean, I started off on Instagram with 0 followers, just like everybody else. But people were sharing my before and after pictures. And so
Mm.
that's how I had, gained all these followers. And that was really the beginning of Instagram. Now the market is so saturated, but I was like, I guess I don't want to brag on myself, but I was kind of like one of like the first influencers before influencers even existed. I mean, I remember when I had 11,000 followers and I would respond back to a comment. People were like, "Oh my God, you saw my comment. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for responding."
And
It was just,
Instagram was so new back then. Nobody
it
even
was
knew how to
so
use it,
new.
you
Yeah,
know?
it was so new. And so and I had so many people asking me like what to do. And I was still on my journey, but I was like, you know what? I realized it wasn't just overweight people who needed help. It was like busy moms who didn't have time to think about what to eat. It was anybody who just needed somebody to tell them what to
Did
eat.
you
And every
talk about that stuff then? Like did you talk about like what you were eating and how you were working out? And like, did you start giving health advice or people just started asking you and you didn't really know what to do?
Well, yeah, I use it as an accountability platform. So I'd post my
Mm.
picture of like, hey, went to the gym today, hey, tried out Zumba today. And as I lost weight, I got more confident. So I got into CrossFit. And so like the very first time, I grew up incredibly overweight my whole life. And so when I was 26 was the first time I ever climbed a rope. And just to see that and I put that on Instagram and everybody was like in tears with me. They're like, oh my God, you climbed a rope, you hit the bell at the top. Like it was just so cool. So I was going through this journey and people were going with me. And at the end of that year, there was like 3 or 4 of us, influencers who I say influencers because, it
I
was
know what you're
people
saying.
who,
Like people with
yeah,
followings back then.
yeah,
Yeah.
people were following. They were coming out. They were like, well, maybe we can do this, meal plan and or maybe we can do this online workout thing. And I knew that I was not at my 100% goal weight. I did not achieve my ideal optimum body. I was still on a path, but I had so many people asking me questions that I literally just went to Microsoft Word and I wrote out two options for breakfast, 2 options for lunch, 2 options for dinner, and it was healthy stuff. I mean, oatmeal with strawberries. Anybody can think to eat oatmeal strawberries is healthy, but if you are 272 pounds, you don't know where to start.
Right.
You don't know how to put your right foot in front of your left. So I just called it the $15 15-day challenge because I found out that people love alliteration. And if you say, I'm going to be selling apple pies at 4 p.m. and I only have apple, people are like, do you have cherry? What time do you start?
Right.
How
Right.
much is
Right.
it? So I was like, let me do the 15 for 15. And sure enough, a bunch of people signed up. I only had $3,000 at the time and I was making $2,500 a week.
Yeah.
And so
Just from your Instagram stuff.
just from Instagram, and that was only with 3,000 followers. And so that was at the end of 2013. And so I had the thought process. And see, this is why I connected with you so much because when you had that thought process, $50 for 50 people, I was like, that's my brother. Like I thought of 15, 15, 10 years ago.
You were coming home from Christmas in 2011, you said, like,
Yeah.
and then that's when what happened to us happened. Like that's when
Wow.
it was about that time that Isaac, we found out about the daycare, and
Mm.
when I found out, and it was when my boss wouldn't let me off work, and like all that was happening at the exact same time. Yeah,
God is
like
such a good God.
yeah, it's crazy. It's
He's such
crazy.
an intricate God.
But why did you stop? Like you were like you're. I mean, this is a common story. Like it's like I hear this all the time. There's people listening right now going, man, I made some money online, then I quit and I stopped and I did this and I did that. Because when I met you, you weren't really doing anything with this stuff, even though you still got this following that's sitting there waiting for help. Why did you quit? Why did you stop making money if you're doing 2,500 a week or whatnot?
So that's a great question. This is where my story gets complex. I like to liken myself to other people in my family. Their life is like shooting a hole in one. They just go to the golf course and just shoot, and like, there it is. My life is like a pinball machine. I thought I was going to go straight up, and I started to go this way, and life was like, nope, you're going this way. Nope, you're
Oh,
going
wow.
that way. And so the muscles I have gained to dig myself out of this hole for the past 10 years, because that was 2012, now it's 2022. I've been doing this for 10 years. And when you got a good thing going, the devil tries to stop it, and that, I know I got a good thing going because every single time he has tried to throw things in my way to try and, reroute my course.
Mm.
So 2014, I had been at my job for 2 years. I knew I was making this money, continued to come up with a new meal plan every month. And
You were working when you were making the money online, you said? You had a job
yeah,
when you were doing it?
yeah,
Okay, so
I
it's
was
kind of a side
working.
hustle at that point.
Yeah, kind of a side hustle, but I really did. I was doing insurance, and
Yeah.
and that's another reason why I connected with you, because you said your dad's an insurance man, and I was selling life and life and health and P&C, property and casualty, and I could give two darns about insurance. I didn't care about insurance. I wanted to change people's lives, but I grew up with my family telling me like, oh, you need to go get a 9 to 5, forget if you're making money on the
Safe
side.
job,
That's,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, that's great, but it's not real. Well, I took it upon myself. When I was 19, I had an internship at Disney World. And my friend, one of my roommates, she lived in New York, and it was kind of a long-standing running joke. She's like, if you can ever get out of the wheat field in Kansas, come up to New York. You always have a place to stay. And so once I had put the 2 years in at my job, and once I had made enough money, I could kind of see the trend I'm making month after month. I called her and I was like, hey, is that offer still on the table? If I come up to New York, is there still a place for me to stay? Because I didn't know what I was looking for. I just knew it was not in Kansas. There was
Yeah.
not opportunity in Kansas. And so, something that's interesting is I live here in Dallas. I live in a 21-story building. You cannot live in a 21-story building in Kansas because they don't
Right.
exist. And so
Yeah.
sometimes you got to the Bible says you got to get to a place called there. I had to get to where the opportunity was. And I thank God that I got to experience New York before the pandemic, because it's not the same city with the same opportunities, but I digress. So in 2014, I called myself couch surfing, which is an actual website. And I couch surfed across America because I did not know exactly how to get to New York, a straight shot. And so I didn't think I was going to make enough money to have hotel rooms and just sleep along the way. So I went all the way down south, and I went up the East Coast, and it took me about 6 months. And I stopped in every major city, met some awesome people from Instagram, went to some great workout classes, finally made it to New York. And when I was in New York City, I got cast in a commercial for Beachbody, and it was an audition for a workout program. And I was like, well, this is great because this is right up my alley. And so I took everybody that I had in the $15 15-day challenge and transitioned them to Beachbody. And
Mm.
so with the success of Beachbody, it was so great because now I was it wasn't just Laura D by herself. It was a whole team, a whole, company of people. Well, after that, I moved down to Dallas because they had asked me to come speak on stage at one of their quarterly events. I loved it. All my upline was here. So I moved down here. And shortly after, I got into a relationship that turned out to be abusive. And
Wow.
so that's why I stopped, because, when somebody is, beating your butt, you don't really care about what you're eating. And
Yeah.
so since I lost my body, I lost my business, and I thought it was just the relationship. But once I got out of the relationship, I realized I was drawn and attracted to that relationship because I had an abusive childhood that I didn't know I had.
Mm.
And so it was a lot
What
of,
year
it
was
was
that?
like 2017. So I moved
Oh,
to
wow.
Dallas. I had the commercial. Let's see, I started Instagram 2012, started the meal plan in 2013. In 2014 is when I couch surfed. 2015, I got the commercial. 2016, I moved to Dallas. 2017, I got in the relationship. 2018, I finally got out of the relationship. And 2019 is when I call it my therapy with God.
Yeah.
Because what I went through, I mean, it was like peeling back an onion. I thought it was one layers.
And then
Shane,
the
this was,
pandemic happened.
oh, and then, but it wasn't just the pandemic. I lost the use of my left leg in the
Mm.
pandemic because I was part of a softball team. And when I went up there, I thought I was Barry Bonds. I was like, oh, I'm about to hit it out the park. Did not hit it out the park. Got my cleat twisted, in between the plate and the dirt, and ended up dislocating my kneecap and tearing my meniscus. And had surgery on this same knee when I was 14 playing basketball. And it was so bad, they had to do a complete patella reconstruction. And so when I didn't just lose, the loss of my leg, like a week before that, my company, because I staff healthcare physicians, well, if all the doctor's offices are closed down and the hospitals are shut down, you're not making any money to staff physicians. And they
Mm,
had to let go 75% of the company. And guess who was included in that let go?
yeah.
So when I tell you I
Wow.
had nothing, Shane, like I had nothing. Like I was in a deep, dark hole. And, all the friends that I did have, a couple of people didn't want to come out because of COVID. They were unsure. A couple of people, went back to Florida or Louisiana. A couple of people went and got a cabin in the woods in Colorado. Like all my friends left. Like I was completely by myself. And it wasn't just that I was on crutches. Like I couldn't drive, because I'm 5'10", so I couldn't straighten my leg out. I couldn't sleep on my back or on my, in my bed. I had to sleep on the couch on my back. Like I was ready to be like, hey, sayonara, like this life is too hard. I end it.
Can I get some about COVID? Anybody got any of that COVID? Let me get some about COVID, right?
Yeah, that sounds real good right about now.
Take a little bit of that COVID. Did it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad joke. People don't get mad at me and write in on my podcast about joking about COVID. I had it. But anyway, so you heard me speak in Dallas, and then they
Yeah.
came to one of our events.
Mhm.
That was just like the end cap of all that kind of coming out of it, because you're walking around now and you're getting back in shape and
Yeah,
doing some of those
absolutely.
things, just trying to reconstruct, rebuild a little
Yeah.
bit.
And
Yeah.
what's crazy is that I should not have even been at Life Surge. I didn't even know, as you know, that was the third one. I didn't even know it existed. And one of my friends sent me a DM on Instagram. She's like, hey, I have an extra ticket. And, God has really been dealing me with like, I know this doesn't really tie in, but he's been really dealing me with the letter E. He's been showing me patterns because I journal a lot. And when you write things down, it's called cryptography. You can see the secret language behind language.
Yeah.
And Edgar Allan Poe was really into that. And so,
Greatness flows through your lips and your fingertips.
yeah, you said that. You said that. When you said that, I was like, oh man, like that's how you're my brother. Like we're right here. And I asked her, I said, I would love to go to Life Surge with you. I said, but just out of curiosity, is it like VIP or is it general admission? And she's like, oh, it's executive. I was like, oh, is that executive seating with an E?
Ah,
because, because
seeing
God,
those patterns. Yeah.
man, and it just like it was such a blessing to be there. And I should not have even have been there. And when you step on stage, because everybody else was dripped out in like, red bottoms and they had three-piece suits and all these gold watches. And I thought you were like IT tech. I thought something was like wrong with the stage because, that you came up in like a black shirt, baby, from Walmart, some jeans and like some black tennis shoes. And I was like, what's going on? Like the sound guys up there, is everything okay?
Oh
And
my
you're like,
gosh, that's so funny.
and
That
you're
is so
like,
funny.
you're like, I'm Shane Sams. And I was like, oh, that's my people. Cause I'm from Kansas, and like, you're like, I'm from Kentucky. And then you said about the $50. And I was like, oh, that's what I did. Like $15. And when you said about Jocelyn going to Dollar General to create her, her
Costume.
Halloween costume, I was sitting there just bawling because that's how I grew up. I grew up
Mm.
poor like that too. I grew up going to Dollar General. And I was like, that is my people. And I bought, like, I did not have the $97, but I knew my return on my investment would be greater than what I was going to give up. And I was like, when I saw you on stage, I was like, I have got to be in a room with him. So
Wow.
I'm so grateful for you, Shane.
That's amazing. I've been confused for a lot of things, but IT tech has never been one of them. Roadie. I'm gonna put roadie on my resume. I'm gonna change my Instagram bio right now. I'll just be like speaker, podcaster, part-time roadie.
Maintenance.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because people ask me all the time about being on stage and stuff, and like everybody's got suggestions,
Hmm.
like what you
Hmm.
should do and what you should wear and all this crap. And I'm like, y'all, you don't understand, man. I did not quit my job so anyone could tell me what I can wear. Like
Come
I did
on.
not take over my life to do that. I said I like to wear a t-shirt and jeans. Like I don't own a suit or any drip. I don't have drip, right? My
That
drip is
black
this
shirt is
hat.
your drip.
That's my drip. That's my only drip. It's a very small, low key drip, right? It's
Oh
like I don't have
man. But
anything
it
else, man.
works. You're very like approachable. And when I saw all those other people, it was like, oh, one day I want to be like them. But when I saw you, I was like, no, I'm like him now. And if he can do it, like I can do it too. And Nick Vujicic,
Voyage.
he said it perfectly. If nobody's listened to that podcast, they need to listen to it because he said it perfectly. It doesn't matter what you have. Like anybody from a 9 to 5 job, any age, can take the principles that you're teaching them. You don't have to be anybody special. You don't have to, know anything. Like just by you being alive. My Aunt Leslie, she's 65 years old, and I was telling her about this, and she's like, I was like, what would you do with your business? She's like, well, I'd probably do, what's it called, scrapbooking. And I was like, he could help you be a
I
scrapbook.
know
You know
someone
what I
who makes
mean?
millions teaching people how to scrapbook.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
See, like you are
Yeah.
the answer to everybody's problem. You're like Jesus.
No. I'm trying to be like him. I'm not anywhere near like him. What we try to do is like maximize who people are. Like
Mm,
that's our goal. Like we try to take the things they already have. Like everybody tells you got to have something different, right? But like really we all have something. It's all authentic. If you're just the more authentic you can get, the better your chance you're going to have to make money online. And
yeah.
like to do that, you have to recognize that the skills were put in you already, like the passions, the hobbies, the knowledge, the wisdom, the
Yes.
experiences, like everything you went through. Every year of your journey in the last 10 years is probably something you could teach people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's like,
Absolutely.
and you got the hard part is people uh is when people put it out there as, oh, I've got the secret. This is the secret. And if you do the secret, no, it's not. The secret is you already have the secret,
Yes.
and you just have to kind of activate that, or you have to recover enough to get back on the wagon. So let's talk about that a little bit. So we have this audience. You've got an incredible story. Your courage is there to tell your story, whatever story you need to tell. And so you have all these, like you have a box full of puzzle pieces like poured out, right? So like,
Yeah.
what are you going to teach? What are you going to share? Like, what is the specific niche thing that you want to go out and use to earn your income online again? Are you going to help people lose weight? What are you going to do?
Well, that's going to be, you know, uh, one of my coaching forums, after I get this first one out the way. And I like that you said puzzle pieces because that's actually a word that I have been using in the last 6 to 12 months, like the puzzle pieces, because it's like God has like given me all the pieces and like I see the master portrait now because before I had so many questions and not enough answers. And now it's like I'm 100% healed, 100% whole, 100% complete, 100% delivered. I've got no more questions. I have only answers. And so it's like I am ready to go forth. And before, I thought my platform was losing weight, and that is a component of it because we want to be healthy. But even, if somebody does one workout right now or eats one meal right now, that's not going to get rid of being unhealthy. It takes a long time and consistency. But if I have one conversation with somebody right now, Shane, I can completely shift their mind to give them the peace that they are looking for. And I know a lot of people being in the business, whatever you want to call it, that have a perfect body but do not have a good mindset.
Actually, those are the people who are usually the most screwed up, I find, because
Yes.
it's weird. Like there's actually I was reading about this one time because I love mental health. It's one of my
Yes.
favorite topics, and it was talking about how they did like all these surveys, and people who are like over the top like fitness, not necessarily like some professionals, but the people at the gym you're like are here 2 times a day, ripped, shredded. Those they're compensating by
Yes.
the physical health, because the mental health's
Absolutely.
not right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what, am I going to continue on my weight loss journey? Absolutely. Am I going to continue to lose the weight and get to my optimum, my prime body? Absolutely, because I'm an athlete on the inside and I want my outsides to match my insides. I don't want that cognitive dissonance. But even if I never lost another pound, Shane, God has shown me that I'm worthy now and I can help people now. So do I want to lose weight? Yes, absolutely. But even if I don't, I can still help people right now. And so
Yeah.
what I have gone through and overcome from my childhood, my abusive relationship, healing it takes a toll on you mentally when you lose the loss of your leg, you are a different person. I was in the handicap category for 3 months, and so I thank God that my leg is back and I can, every day I get up and I walk around. Sometimes I think like, oh, I don't have to pick my leg up or oh, I don't have to grab my crutches. I'm like, thank you, God, I can walk today. It's a good day. And so my first course, I'm kind of struggling with the name of it. I've come up with like 5 different names, but I want it to be called something like a piece of peace. Because if I could just give that, it's
What's
like
the
some people,
result that the course would give?
mental peace and clarity and happiness. Because right now, like for me, for instance, I'm not at my 100% goal weight, but I'm at my 100%. Like my mind has never been more
Mm,
healed, more complete, more fit. Like my mental fitness is there. It's 100%, and I'm so happy and I'm accepting of myself and I love myself. I love myself to continue my weight loss journey. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't have questions about my childhood or why did they do this to me or why didn't they do this to me. Like I'm one with God and with the Holy Spirit and with my peace. And that peace, Shane, that surpasses all understanding,
yeah.
honey, that is priceless.
You said something interesting earlier. I feel like this is an offer discussion at this point. Like, how do we sell? Like, what do you sell? And like, you sold the meal plans and nutrition. Of course, that's a component because you can't have mental peace if your body's unhealthy.
Yeah.
But like that accepting of who you are, kind of. But you said something interesting earlier where you said, "I lost my body, so I lost my business."
Yeah.
But a mentally healthy person, right then, if you gain 10 pounds one way or the other, would not have lost their business too. Something would have
Exactly.
kept going. So, what you're really talking about here is your brand is going to help people find peace mentally, mental
Yes.
health. It's all about mental health and just maybe physical. Well, it's like mind, body, soul, but you're really looking at the mind and the body
Yes.
stuff is whatever.
Yes, because
Yeah.
there are girls that I have spoken with that are 135 pounds, and they are just as twisted and messed up as I was, and I have spoke to them, and I've written things down on a piece of paper and let them cry on my shoulder and prayed with them and talked to them, and I understand now, like, this is not a weight thing. Like, yes, the weight is a component of it, but it's like everybody deals with those voices in between their ears. Everybody needs to have a healthy mind and a healthy soul and a healthy spirit. Like, who cares how many reps you can lift in the gym if you're not sleeping at night? If you have anxiety when you wake up, if you've got depression and you can't get off the couch, you're watching Netflix for 13 weeks in a row and ordering Uber Eats. Like, it doesn't matter if
I
you're
wonder
a
if you should
model.
I wonder if you should uncouple so yeah, let's figure out how to make this into an offer. Okay. I wrote down like I'm just thinking about ideas like because what has to I think this is a funnel issue. It's like your top of your funnel is definitely going to happen because of your physical journey. Okay. So like if you're because like you've got an amazing look, you've got an amazing personality. People Instagram, that's a dangerous combination because people are drawn to that. So it's like, let's go, right? Like
Yeah.
and you're on Instagram, you know how to use the platform. Like I'm flipping through your Instagram here. You're using it exactly the way it's designed to be used, right? Like what you're supposed to do. That's going to be drawn by that. Okay. Now, I think that I don't want to say the word gimmick, but you've got to have a gimmick to transfer people from why they're following me online with this journey, because that's definitely what people want.
Hmm.
And you have to market with what people want, not with what they need. I
Yeah.
know that sounds manipulative. I know that but it's not. It's intentional with great intentions based on reality. Okay.
Something
Um,
like mind right, body right.
no, I think you keep doing what you're doing. I think you focus totally on your public weight loss journey, focus on your health, focus on your things, talking about that. When the sales funnel starts, it's going to be more about the mental journey. But like you're going to have something like accept yourself. Like I think you should be like anti-weight, anti-scale. You shouldn't even talk about scale. You shouldn't even talk
Yeah.
about weight. Like that should not be a part of anything that you talk about. It's like you should only talk about health and like
Yeah.
physical health and like the things you do. Like I have to get people to believe in themselves before I ever talk about business. Like the word business doesn't really enter into my discussion. Like I didn't talk about business at the seminar you were at for like 8 hours. Like
Yeah.
we just talked about idea and offer and path and results and who you serve. And like all that has to be done before you say the word business. Because here's what happens. There are words that shut people down because we're not talking about their thing because we have the curse of knowledge. People need wisdom. People need
Yeah.
mindset, but you did not know that at the beginning of your journey. All you knew was that you saw yourself on a picture and you were overweight and you needed to
Hmm.
lose weight. That's what you
Right.
wanted. So you got to they are aware that there is a problem, They're not aware of the solution. And if you try to come at people with this solution, which is like, get your mind right, get mental health in order, overcome this, accept yourself, and then you'll be able to do these other things, you will lose every customer that you ever had. The reason you were making $2,500 a week is because people wanted to lose weight and you had a meal plan that promised them lose weight.
Yes.
Okay. But the cool thing is that's really just the first part of it. Like, I don't think I would start necessarily with the mental health thing. Like, I think you could make that first part of it. I think that's got to develop. I think you've got to go back to, okay, who is following me? They're following me because of my weight loss journey. What has worked? I know for sure the meal plans worked. Okay. And you go back to the well, right now. Like, you just go back to the well. And then you layer in the other parts, the mental health stuff. Like, you're going to add that as a part of it as you go forward to kind of create more momentum. Like, if you go straight back to the list with something completely different as an offer, it might not work. But if you can get buyers into a community where they can get access to the meal stuff and then the mental health, you're good. But again, I would uncouple this from weight loss. It's almost like, I'm going to show you how to accept yourself. I'm going to teach you how to lose weight because that's what you're really wanting and searching for on Google and Instagram. And then when we get in there, they're going to get this added component almost, right? Of like the mental health journey. Like, all your live calls would talk about mental health. Your courses could develop into that. But if you don't serve this particular audience in the reason and the want that they have and why they're following you, then they're not going to keep, it's going to be, you're going to have to grow a whole new audience. It'd be like starting completely from scratch. When I text a picture last night. This is disgusting. I texted a picture last night to my kids. My kids got an ingrown toenail. Right.
That is disgusting.
Disgusting. Right. So I took this picture, and I have like concierge medicine, so like you can talk to them online. And like, so I sent them a picture, and I told them, basically like, I want this to be solved. Right. Okay. So he's got a health problem. This is what I think it is. I think it's this disgusting toenail that I just took a picture of. Then I go to the doctor. The first thing the doctor does is not look at the toenail, right? I'm the customer. I want the toenail solved. I'm looking for the toenail solution. It's the weirdest analogy I've ever given. But when I get there, what does the doctor do? Open up and say, let me check your heart. Let me check your lungs. Let me ask you other questions about your health. Let me make sure that the real issues are not a problem, but you came in for the toenail, right? Yeah. It's the same thing here, right? Like, people, these 55, 60,000 people that are following you because of your personality, because of your look, because of the result you've clearly gotten for yourself, which is a similar result from them. They don't even know they need what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You can't go at them at that high of a level. You got to go at them exactly what happened before, but have this on the inside. So instead of them paying $15, they'll pay 50, and they'll pay it every month because they're going to get served at such a higher level. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does make sense. But my only concern is that I am not where I need to be physically,
Doesn't
like,
matter.
so
Doesn't
how can I like tell people, like,
you tell people, I'm not where I am physically. That's what you do. You be totally on. You keep doing what you did in the beginning. What made them follow you? You documented your journey, but you are 100 pounds ahead of somebody that weighs 100 pounds more than you. It's a sliding scale. It is never about that. People don't want the perfect fitness model anymore. They want someone who's like achieved a goal and is still struggling, but fighting forward.
Yeah.
I have not arrived as an entrepreneur. I'm not even close. I hang out with people every day that make more money than me. Some of my students make more money than me. My company has went up and down in this and revenue, and we try new things, and it hurts other things, and like, that's why people follow Flip Lifestyle, because we're just on the journey with them.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So you gotta uncouple. I lost my body. I lost my business. That ain't true. You lost your business probably because you let Beachbody have a piece of your business. You jumped into another thing. You had a mindset thing of, my body is connected to my business. Therefore, if the ideal is not perfect, I don't have a business, right?
Well, I lost my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I did not have, like, the thing is that, let's just say, you have somebody who is healthy and they're 12 years old and they have a normal relationship with their parents. They're not growing up in a toxic environment. Like basically what I want to do is to create this course. Like you can call it whatever you want, adult awareness. It's basically like how to live right, like how to transition to a normal, healthy adult, like somebody who has a good mind, body, soul connection. So these things include like yoga, meditation, journaling, daily nature walks, vitamins, even drinking like lemon water, making your bed every day. So like all of these things are
It's
like going to
holistic.
be,
It's going to be holistic. Yeah,
holistic.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great
And
word.
like, but you got to go after people. Like, for example, this would be like a definition of your niche. We're kind of niching down a little bit here. At first, it was, so when you first did this, this is actually perfect. If you first did this, like, it was like, I was really super obese and I lost a bunch of weight, right? 75 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it was. And then I got this beach body. I was doing CrossFit and I was actually teaching other people how to lose weight, right? But then I got off on my mind. I got the journey. I fell off the wagon, went through some hard times. And now I'm coming out of it and I'm getting back to not only fit. I realized it was because I focused on the physical health, not my mental health. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. That is not just your story. Everyone who has ever lost weight has fell off the wagon, gained weight, and they don't know why, and they realize they need more help. That's your niche, right? That could be your niche. It's not just go after those people, but like you gotta do it where the customer is. You got to stop thinking about it from you. Like, and also too, you're thinking so big right now, you can't create all this in the next month, right? You can't do it. You can't do it. You got to take it one bite at a time. So it's more like this. So that's your story. What if you were like, hey, I'm back. I fell off the wagon. Now I'm back. I know what's going on because I'm still healthy, but I was healthy or whatever. But like now I'm back. We're all going to get back on the wagon together. You think those 55,000 people aren't off the wagon? Come on now.
Oh man,
Come on now.
just last week, some girl sent me a message and she was like, I need to lose 80 pounds. And I said, why are you messaging me though? And she's like, girl, you're the only person I trust to help me lose this weight. And
I
I was
know.
like, oh my God.
I know, right? So the trust is there. So now it's like keep telling your story. Hey guys, I've been gone. This is what happened. I'm back. We're going to do this together, and I'm going to lead the charge with my example. So I'm bringing back a $15 a month meal plans. Let's do this. We activate that revenue stream immediately, and then like Trojan horse style. It's like, all right, you're going to do everything you were doing before. Meal plans are coming weekly, whatever's coming. But then you're going to do live things where it's like, yeah. And now we're going to talk about, I'm going to have a special 1 hour thing for all my members this week about accepting yourself no matter what the scale says. Hey, I'm going to have a 1 hour thing next week about finding peace regardless of what the scale says. I'm doing all, so we're caring about health. We're caring about the meal plans. We're caring about taking care of our body, but we're taking the emphasis off the scale and we're talking, and you're putting the emphasis inside the thing on the mental health, right? And you build it as you go, right? Like everybody wants to build something like this new thing and shiny object and all this. No, everything is built as you go. The Romans built the roads one brick at a time, and they started building houses along the roads as they built them. They didn't go build all the houses and then build the roads.
Come
right?
on, history teacher.
Right? Yeah. So we got to know what works. We know what works. We need to reactivate that revenue stream so you get back to that $2,000 a week or whatever it was, which will give you more money for the mission. And then as the people come in, based on like why did she come to you? I want to lose 80 pounds. Cool. That's her goal. Don't take that goal from her. Give her her goal, but coach her along the way. Did you know that you can accept yourself right where you are at 80 pounds overweight? And then you can have peace when you get 10 pounds down. And then you'll have more peace when you get 20 pounds down. And then you can teach her that while you help her accomplish the goal that she only trusts you for. Right? So if you try to go the other way, I'm afraid that you'll betray that trust because they can't fathom what you've experienced in the last 8 years, and you're coming back at them. The Bible says, some people are ready for milk, not meat, right? So you got to give them milk first before you give them the steak later on. Where they need to be, but your job is to get them there, and you can't get them there if you go at them with a fire hose like that.
So, well, I'm gonna do, you're more experienced than I am, so I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna follow your lead because if I fail, it's your fault.
That's right.
But
That is
so,
not true, by the way.
so basically, I love what you said. Like, it's like I want to call it like a back on the wagon plan.
Yeah, like that's perfect. Like embrace it,
Yeah.
embrace it,
So
because everyone out there is on the off the wagon, and they just want to get back on with you. Like I guarantee you they are. Like no, the 80,000, all those people are not on the wagon, man. Like so, don't change what's worked. Like people out here going, people out here shaking their podcast device because they're like, Laura, you are making $2,000 a week. Do that again and then build on top of that. That's what we need to
but
do.
I was doing that because I was like fit, you know what I mean?
No, no,
Fitter
no.
than I
You
am
were you were
now.
doing that because you were one step ahead. You were some amount of steps ahead of them. Not that you were at the finish line. Nobody even cares about the finish line. They care about their
Mhm.
next best step. So if you lose 75 pounds, you gain 20 pounds back, you're still down way more than the person who's still at that mark.
Yeah.
If you weigh 300 and you go to 100, 200, and then you go up to 225, the person who's 300 still wants to get to 225.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not about you. You just have
So
the story. You just got to give them their story. You got to help them with their story, where they are.
so the funnel, so I sell them the $15 15-day meal plan, and then the membership comes in with like this mind peace course, or like I don't know what the name, like tranquility and freedom or
Don't
something.
worry, don't worry about names. Names don't
Okay.
matter. We were
Okay.
doing this yesterday. I actually just had a meeting with my team on some new names, and we were like, it took us 5 minutes to name 2 new products. And
Oh my God.
I was like, why do people struggle with this? Because the name, nobody's going to join because of the name. It's just a
Yeah.
helpful tool, right? Your funnel looks like this. Instagram is where you build your audience.
Hmm.
Were they paying $15 a month?
Some of them, yeah, because I would just come up with a new meal plan each month and it was like the same customers.
Was it okay? So you were reselling it every month, though, right?
No, I was coming up with a new meal plan. So I'd have like a
But did they
July
have to?
meal
Did they
plan.
have to? Did they have to check out again, or was it like recurring payments?
Yeah, they always had to buy it again
Okay, don't do that. You're just gonna have a $15 a month membership. So
for meal
that'll start
plan.
for meal plans right now, because we know that the $15 price point works. And you didn't do them custom, right? You would just send them out for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So Instagram, you got the $15 thing. You probably need some kind of free opt-in.
Free meal
Um,
plan.
well, you can get just yeah, you could they could get like a one you could write out a week, and that's their free week meal plan. Okay, so
seven
they
day
could
meal
get
plan.
yeah, free 7-day meal plan. And you said something earlier too that like no market is oversaturated because Laura is not in the market. It ain't oversaturated. Like you're the market. Like the market for weight loss is the market for weight loss. That's not what people want. That girl sent you a message because she only trusts Laura. You
Yeah.
are your market. There is no competition. The market doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Beachbody's doing. It doesn't matter what anybody's doing. Like it matters what the people who follow you want, and they want you. So don't even worry about what anybody else is doing. So free week meal plan. Then you got a thank you page, which is like the $15 thing, right? And then I might have like a separate tier that's like $50 a month to start out with.
I really want to make it $35.35 so that everybody knows what Exodus 3535 is.
Say what now? Oh,
I,
okay. Do it. All right. How about this? Just make the whole thing 35.35, and they get them. That's the membership price, and they
okay.
get the meal. The meal plan is the main feature, so you're going to get weekly meal plans or whatever you do. Forget the $15 right now.
But I
35 is
could
not
sell
expensive.
for people who don't want to pay 35.35 each month. I could do the $15 15-day meal plan like on the side, like a
Nah,
free
just
or
do one offer. It's going to get confusing if you do more than one thing at first. You can break out later.
Mhm.
Everybody who starts an online business should have one thing they sell at one price point, and they should stay focused on it. And for the first 6 months of their business, you can, because here's what happens. Every time you say 2 things, everything gets more complex. Now you've got to promote 2 things. You got to email about 2 things. You got to talk about 2 things. You got to create a sales funnel for 2 things. You got to know when you're going to promote the 2 things. Like, and if you're promoting one half the month, you're not promoting the other half the month. Like until you have, it's not effective to do that in the beginning. I would rather you just say, I'm going 35, 35. I would focus on the meal plans because that's worked before. And now you can talk about how inside this thing is also, we're going to have like weekly accountability meetings, but those accountability meetings, because we're still talking their language. You need accountability to stay on meal plans and to lose the 80 pounds, lady that DM'd me. But when they get in there, those accountability sessions are going to be you teaching mindset, you talking about mindset.
So it's like
our coaching calls are mostly that. That's
what
we do. Yeah.
So it's like a meal plan and mental peace course.
There you go. Call it that. Laura Delpini's meal plans and mental peace. Stop trying to come up with a name. Like Laura Delpini is the name, and it's meal plans and mental peace.
MPMP.
Sounds like a MPMP. Meal plans and mental peace.
I love it.
Laura Delpini MP. You should say that. MP. Meal plan, mental peace, money and profits.
Ooh, baby. Talk that money to me. We like that money.
Right. So it's like meal plans, mental peace, money and profits. That's so that's like your whole, thing there. 35 wraps it up with Exodus 35. So like you got, that's a cool price point. People won't forget it. And you get 1,000 people to pay that. That's good money. So like, I mean, it's, and then you can offer like one-on-one coaching on top of it if you want to, just to have something else. Like when they get in, no level of a funnel should be selling two things, but you can always sell the next thing.
Mm-hmm. But should I, because I'm only in phase 1 of the courses, I need to like get on it. But I'm just like curious about like the way that you have us, go through our modules. Is that kind of like what I'm creating, like modules also, like for them to go through like this?
It might look a little different because it would probably look more like Membership Masters does, like the newsletter, because when you log into that member area, it changes every month because there's a new issue of the thing. Right. So like, yours is more like the meal plan kind of rotates like it, like it should, like your meal plan, like you could have like one module. You're going to have courses and stuff and trainings, right? Like these live conversations you could use as your trainings if you want to do, but there's probably a little area that says this week's meal plan. Yeah. And you just rotate, you go in, delete it all, put the new one in, delete, you just kind of update that as you go. So then you can email their members and say, hey, the new meal plan's up. Let's all get on it, and they go access that there. Did you email it to them before, like a PDF or something? Yeah,
it was just like I had some guy in Atlanta, like create a website for me, and it was just like a one click. And as soon as they checked out, it sent it. But I'm curious, like, I guess I'll find out more when I get into the actual, phases. But I want there to be like a course for, I guess not a course, but like a video for each thing, like even for affirmations or for, having plants in your house or, having
all those will come. Here's what I would do if I were you. Get people paying and then everything, write down a list of everything you want to include in your membership. Okay. All these things like you're getting caught up in too much stuff right now, right? Because then you're getting caught up in all the steps. You need to make a bulleted list, all the things I want to talk about. And then here's what you do. Go sell some of these to your existing audience, get people paying you, and then schedule one call a week for let's say there's 20 courses that you want to create, right? Schedule one live call a week for your paying customers. Go in and talk about that topic. Let people ask you questions about that topic, and then put that in your member area. And now it's there forever. And you've made your courses while getting paid to do it. Like you don't have to create this stuff first. You can get paid to create the stuff.
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm just, the only thing I'm kind of like worried about is I just want to make sure I have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted, because like I have not come back, and when I make that first call, Shane, I feel like I'm going to get like 100 people. Like I know they're going to come, like if not 1,000 people, like people are waiting for me to like come back because they know like I've I hate to sound like braggadocious, but it's like, I know I have something. I know
when you have an audience, they're loyal. They're going to stay loyal.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I just want to make sure I have, because I tried to do it before and it was like all the pieces like couldn't really fit, and like people could tell it wasn't like excellent, So when I come back the second time, I want it to be like legit, and I want things just to like.
Sounds like to me that you don't feel like it was excellent.
Well, I mean, no, I could tell. Or like even like when I had t-shirts, and then like this one guy got a t-shirt, and I used to have Unstoppable t-shirts, and there was like paint on the side, you know what I mean, from like the screen print. So
don't make t-shirts. Don't make swag. We're not making t-shirts here. All right, listen. Here's what would happen. Okay, you can watch the launch training to learn all this, like how to launch this and roll it out. Right. There's a launch video inside. But honestly, if you just had the meal plans accessible in a Kajabi product, and you just did that right now, and then if you just had an order form with what it was, they could sign up, and then you did a Zoom call once a week, people would love it.
Okay.
They would love it. They would love it. If you had that's all you need. Like, that's it. They want the plans to lose the weight, but then they want you to help guide them to where they can, the mental health stuff will make sure they do lose the weight. They do become healthier mentally and spiritually and physically. And it doesn't have to be like excellence. Don't even worry about the guy that complains about pain on the t-shirt. He wasn't in it for the t-shirt. He's in it for something else. So like, don't even worry about that. Fine. All that guy did was edit for you. Like, hey, I got pain on this t-shirt. Hey, thanks for pointing that out. I'm going to use a different person to print t-shirts now. Yeah. That's data. That's not complaints. Right. And it's one person. Right. So you can't worry about that. It's just like, hey guys, what if I promised to show up for you every week once for an hour and teach you something about my journey. And I give you meal plans that will help you lose weight. What if I just did that? Could we just do that? If we just did, who wants that? Because I'm going to do that for you. That's it. Oh my God. It's over. Like, don't even think about it.
I'm signing up.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. Yeah. Like, you should go watch the launch training in the blueprint.
Okay.
I don't remember what module it's in, maybe 6. And then maybe it's phase 6. And then, we can talk, kind of hash it out on coaching calls. But like, you've got an audience, man. You should plan for like the next 21 days to start saying, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Something big's coming. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And then like around, the last week of May or something, you should just like say, hey, my meal plans are coming back. They were awesome. Everybody loved them. Plus, I'm going to meet with you for an hour of accountability every week as a community. Let's go. And it's only $35.35.
Wow.
Let them pay and let them get in there. If you think you can get 100 people to pay you that, you should do that immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a guy on the coaching call the other night, and he was like, yeah, what's cool about you being on the podcast now is that when you do launch your podcast or your funnel and you get 100 people, he'll probably have you back on, to talk about it. And I was thinking in my head, like, bro, I'm probably going to get 100 people within the first 5 minutes.
You'll be the quickest repeat guest in the history of the Flip Lifestyle podcast then.
Hey.
Yeah. That's great. So let's stop there because I'm afraid we're going to go down the rabbit hole too far.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to basically hype it on Instagram, go into Kajabi and get the meal plan set up in the product area, make an order form, an offer form, and then launch it. I'd launch it live, say maybe too, like I'm going to do like a free call or something, and then just post it everywhere.
Okay, man, that literally sitting here with you, this entire call was worth hearing you say back on the wheel or back on the wagon.
I'm telling you, let's get back on the wagon together. I'm here to lead you back on the wagon.
That's awesome. Amazing.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Your story is amazing. You need to get out there and tell it. And I know that this totally, I had a feeling that it was going to derail off into like straight mastermind jam because when we hung out in person. But like, I'm really excited to see you launch this thing. I can't wait to see you get back on the wagon. And I know that our listeners probably learned a ton from our discussion today. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. And I just have to say, Shane, it means a lot that you showed up in the classes, because when I went to, I don't know if this is good or bad, I should say, but when I went to the Life Search classes, you were the only person on stage that showed up in the platform. Somebody else, or in the impact classes, somebody else had their representative. So to be able to see somebody on stage and then to be able to like see you face to face, it just like, man, like your mantle is authentic. Like, thank you for showing up, because it just means a lot.
All right, y'all, that wraps up my interview with an amazing Flip Lifestyle community member, Laura Delpini. Man, that was awesome. She's a go-getter, man. And if you're out there and you've got a big audience, or you've got an audience, if you got 1,000, 2,000, anybody following you on social media, guys, you've got a revenue stream. You've got income. You've got something there waiting to happen for you. Maybe you had some online stuff going and you put it aside. Pick it back up. Like, you got to get out there in the game and stay in the game. If you're going to be able to make money online, earn your income at home, and do these amazing things that we can do online in today's world. I just love all these amazing conversations that I get to have with our members and see these real regular folks out there building something amazing, man. We all have a story, and we were gifted that story by God himself so that we could turn that story into an income, into a living, into an impact, into influence out in the world. And I hope that you guys are inspired by Laura to go out there and do the same. Now, before we go, I like to read a Bible verse at the end of every Flipped Lifestyle podcast. I get a lot of my inspiration and motivation from the Bible in my business and in my life. And I'm going to lock in on Exodus 35, verse 35 today. That's actually a really important verse for our business. It's kind of the baseline of everything we do here at Flipped Lifestyle. And since we talked about it on the show, I thought it'd be a good one to close out the podcast today. Exodus 35 says, God has filled them with skill to do all kinds of work as engravers, designers, embroiderers in blue and purple and scarlet yarn and fine linen, and as weavers. All of them are skilled as workers and designers of every kind of craft. I love that Bible verse because it's basically saying everyone has God-given skills, talents, knowledge, abilities, wisdom that they can go out and they can use to build a life, to earn a living, to gain influence and make an impact out in the world. We believe that is true for us. We believe that is true for our community. We believe that is true for you, our listener. All you've got to do is take action. So until I see you again, I'll be back next time with another amazing guest on the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. I want you to do that. I want you to take your God-given gifts, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes to flip your life. I'll see you then.